Hello, my dear friends. This is once again Dr. Surinder Kumar. Thanks a lot paying attention and making comments on my videos and watching them. Highly appreciative. And once again, I'm just going to touch climate change, its negative effects on human life and human habitation, the entire ambience. There are two things we need to consider today. One is like our internal physicality. Second is our external physicality. External is like what kind of an ambience and atmosphere and environment we get to interact, and internal, what is there in us. If we have a good and quality climate in which we are a part of, we've been interacting and sort of relating to, of course our internal health will be absolutely okay and sound. But just want to talk about a few things, and I'm going to read a little bit. Our air and its quality is very much important. But in cities and metropolitan cities, what actually happens, the quality and the air and particulates in that air tend to get contaminated, isn't it? It's not very sound, it is not very healthy. So, what actually happens, city buildings also channelize airflow, sometimes creating local wind tunnels with high wind wave speeds. The actual flow of wind around one building is influenced by nearby buildings. The total wind flow through a city is the result of the relationship among all the buildings that must be taken into account while planning a city. In some cases, when this has not been done, dangerous winds around tall buildings have resulted in blown out windows. That's what I just want to share. The atmosphere. Whereas when we talk about village and primitive localities and isolations, it's quite okay, the ambience and the wind flow, and we still have access to solar energy and sunlight directly. But when it comes to city locations and habitations and ambience, because of different buildings and different things, what happens? People tend to erect buildings and construct buildings, and what happens, the other building does not have solar access. That becomes a problematic situation because human beings do not have access and direct access to solar energy, so and direct wind, clear wind. So they're gonna just gonna read out a little more in that qualitative detail, which is a wonderful here. In past, it was common to make use of solar energy to heat city houses. Cities in ancient Greece, Rome, China were designed so that houses and faced south, and solar energy was accessible to each household. A century is one of the major exceptions because cheap and easily accessible fossil fuels have led us to great certain fundamental lessons about solar passive design. Today, we are beginning to appreciate the importance of solar energy. Once again, some cities have enacted solar energy ordinances that make it illegal to shade another property owner's building in such a way that it loses solar heating capability. So, if our constructions in cities and metropolitan cities tend to shade a property which is of our owner or a person living nearby from solar energy, then there are ordinances in some of the cities. But it is detrimental and pathological for our human habitation, our life, because if we do not have direct contact with solar energy, solar heat, the every dimension of our life is impacted, and it only happens because we are creating a negative climate, we are making a negative climate, and we are making activities and doing activities which is only propelling an ambience of negative climatology around us. So that's very pathetic, and we need to understand that we must have direct contact with solar energy and clear air and sound air and healthy environment. And this is only going to happen when we just do construction, not over construction. When we go for development, not access and overdevelopment. In the race of this construction, in the race of building, in the race of making, in the race of development, we should not overutilize, and I would say misutilize, those natural resources, also hamper them from their direct sources, from their natural origin to come to us, so that there is accessibility halted. That should not happen. So the only thing I just want to just spoke two writings and read them out. just to help you understand what kind of importance is there at the back of making a balanced climatological ambience. Thanks a lot listening, watching. This is Surrender.